And now, from Glasgow.
So hello, welcome to stage 27 and 28. This is the left thigh parts 5 and 6, and I'd like to start off by saying a big thank you to Fan Home. For those of you who may remember, with issue 23 I was missing a small piece of detail there. I did email them, I said the piece is missing, and I went away to work, came back 3 weeks later, and here it is. And this is the one piece that's missing, and all we're going to do is just pop that in there. There's 2 pegs, 2 holes. The only thing you do have to be wary of is it needs to be pointing backwards, so it's flat at the back and shaped at the front, if that makes any sense. And we push that in. Beautiful job. That is stage 23 complete. Now I'm just reaching over to get my magazine. I do want to double check that because I've got a horrible feeling I've done it wrong. Nope, that is absolutely correct. I just sort of looked at that and thought, well, that's not quite so streamlined, but when you're walking pace, does it need to be super streamlined? There we go. And also didn't have it in at the back. So that's issue 23 complete. So this is now surplus to requirements. I suppose what I could say is if anybody's short of this single piece or some EM screws, give us a shout, we might be able to sort something out. Right, so on to issue 27, and these are the parts that we're going to get. Quite a few parts, and I'm quite happy with that because there is an issue coming up which will be in another video. I don't know how much work will be involved, but there certainly aren't a lot of pieces, and I like to see a balance over a pack. So if I've got one pack with not many pieces, and then I've got another pack with loads and loads of pieces, I don't have a problem with that because the balance is there. Right, so we have got piece 27A. This is called the bottom of the outer rear left thigh, and that is plastic, so all you metal fans a bit disappointed. This is 27B. This is the top of the outer right left thigh. Again, it's plastic. I don't see the need for metal or plastic. I do have another part work where I've always said metal where you need the strength and plastic where you need the detail, but actually my ET build is coming with quite a lot of interior plastic parts, and they are super strong. So you're actually getting best of both worlds. Plastic, you can make that look nice. I mean, I've had, when I did the Root Master, we had plastic pieces that were covered in metallic paint, and we used to jokingly say, I can't believe it's not metal, because they looked so good. So please don't get hung up on the fact it's plastic. The next thing that we have is 27C, which is inner connectors ×2. And these are just black little connectors really. And then we have 27D, plate of the inner left thigh, so that's obviously just some kind of cover. 2 sets of screw. We have EP screws. It doesn't say how many, but 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 in the magazine, and 2 4, there's 8 in there. And if the same applies to the CP screws, there will be 6. 2 4 6, there's 6. Right, so let's get my screwdriver ready, which is something I didn't do. Why did I not get my screwdriver ready? Right, I think that might actually be too big today. We'll have a look, we'll see what happens. Right, so what we need to be doing is taking piece 27A and 27B, and this is bringing back memories of the last issue. So we are going to place this together. I remember now we were placing things together somewhere with connectors, and it was a little bit awkward, and I think this is going to be no different. So it's telling us to place these two pieces together. There are a couple of locating tabs. Then it wants us to place the connector on, and I'm not really happy with it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to connect one of the connectors with the CP screws. So let's do the old tipping out on the table. So I believe what I did before was that I popped the screw through the connector, brought the connector to the screw hole, and then just got that started. I don't want it tight because I want it to move, so we're just going to connect it. That's all we're going to do. So once that's in and it's not going to fall off, now we can bring this, and I'm going to hold it. You see, I'm holding it with my two fingers. I'm going to get my next screw ready. I think my cat is complaining because I've taken up room on his bed. No, you're being naughty. So he has found one of my little painting rollers. It's what I'm going to be using to do my desk. And he's just... No! I'll tell you what. Go on then. As you can see, I'm really tough with my cat and I don't give in easy. But he's now happy. He's having a play with it. It's fluffy. You know, I've gone out and I bought him expensive toys. And he's playing with paint rollers and cardboard boxes. Such is the life of a cat. Right, so I've screwed that one in tight. So now I'm going to go back to the first one and we'll pop that one in tight. And I'll just check the first one. That's fine. So long as there's not much movement, that's fine. You can see that there's going to be some other screw holes later on. So that's absolutely fine. Right, so the next thing we need to do, we need to bring in piece 26. Which is been done in a previous issue. This is the one I was talking about. So this has all been connected with connectors, and that's exactly what we've done this time. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring this in, and you can see that one of the connectors from the old piece is going to line up quite nicely with that one, and then yeah, that's stage 2, and what stage 3 will be is to place another connector there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slightly cheat. I'm going to skip to stage 3, and I'm going to pop this connector onto the mating piece. Is that a good word, or did I just make that up? Alright, so that's on. So now when we bring the two pieces together, that should make our lives a little bit easier. Now I can see that this one's off a little bit. I haven't put it in fully, but this one's lining up nicely. So we may as well do this one first. Make sure the piece is lined up though. There's one thing you'll notice is that there's this piece here. It wants to line up in there. So let's focus on that. Right, I think the way I'm going to do this, it looks like it's going to have a bit of a struggle. So I'm just going to lay this on the table, place the screw through, and then, oh, no, that's not falling off. I'm going to bring this screw in, and I'm just going to screw it in just enough so that it connects. It's not in fully. And then what I can do is I can have a wiggle around with this connector. There we go. And then we'll get this one in again, just enough to bite. Because also when you're bringing two pieces together, if they need to be brought in a certain way, you can't always do it because you're not necessarily understanding the angles that they want you to bring them in. If you actually screw them in and then you just screw gently, it will gradually bring those pieces together in the correct way. So there you go, that's starting to come in nice. So that I'm quite happy with, so we'll give that a few more turns of the screw. And then I'll go back and I'll finish the first one off. Now it looks like this is going to come under the category of trust the process, because this all lines up really nicely. However, there's a gap in there. So why there's a gap in there, I don't know. I don't know if you can see my finger behind there. But there is a gap. But, you know, I'm not going to complain about the model because it's not finished yet. Oh, I'm also going to... I noticed that I didn't fully screw these screws in. I suspect that might have been on purpose. And I probably did that so that I could just manipulate the pieces a bit easier. Or I might have just forgotten to screw them in. Who knows with me. Right, so that's that piece done. So there is... They've taken quite a while to explain that. Right, so what we want to do now is bring in our leg piece. And what we are going to do is we're going to be placing our leg piece on like this. Now what you'll notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs there, which is going to line up with these. We also have 2 smaller pegs at the top, which is going to line up there. And no, they're not screw holes. In fact, none of these are screw holes. Of course they are screw holes. I don't know if that top one is. It is all shaped, so give it a bit of a wiggle. There we go, we've got a locating peg there as well, and a locating peg there. So focus first of all on the locating pegs. Once those locating pegs are lined up, we can give it a push. There we go. That's actually gone in quite nicely. And then what we want to do is we want to turn it around, we want to screw it in those 4 points. So it's actually those top ones, they're just locating pegs. Okay, so 4 screws. I'm actually going to get a bigger screw, and I'm going to get my ratchet screwdriver. So these are actually going to be going, well, according to this, they're going into plastic. So we just want to go until it stops. But to be honest with you, so long as it's not falling off, it's not loose, I can't see it being a problem. I think I'm going to have to get the screws started with my smaller screwdriver, mainly because that larger, that's not going to fit. Neither's that one. Right, okay, let's bring in reinforcements. I don't even know if I've got, yeah. I wasn't sure if that screw was connected, was in the hole. Oops. Houston, we're going to have a problem. I think I'm just going to have to drop the screw. It's quite a deep well in there, so I think you've just got to drop the screw in and hope it goes into the hole. This one isn't so bad on the top. I really need to magnetize these screwdrivers. They're running out of power. There we go. And we can't be far off fully completing one leg, because we are nearly done. Sorry guys, I actually cut myself earlier and I just caught it. Right, so next up, do you know what, actually I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to change my plaster. Okay, so the final stage is to put 2 more screws in, and this is something that I've touched on before. We've seen these screw holes, but it's the angle. They actually want to go in at this angle, because you can't see in. You've got to kind of just know where they are, and I can't remember where they are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 1 screw. I think they're going in. I'm really going to have to magnetize this screwdriver. bear with me one sec. These are very good, but they don't last forever. That's much better. Doesn't take a lot to screw. I've seen some people sit there rubbing it for ages. Right, does it go in? Or is it that way? I think it's that way. It is that way. So I'm going to go straight down. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Right, so guys, the way to get these screws in, lay this on its side so the outside of the leg is on the table, and then you are going to go 90 degrees to the table, and if you just drop that straight down with a magnetized screwdriver, that will go in perfectly. Doesn't require an awful lot of screwing, but it will go in nicely. And then we have just one last piece to do. We need to turn this over. Well, there. So we have this piece here. It's actually on the inside of the leg. So we take this piece. It doesn't seem to have a front and a back. It does have a front and a back. So if you put it on the wrong way, as you can see, it's not going to line up. But if you put it on the correct way round, it still doesn't line up. There we go, it lines up perfectly. And as I've put that in, I've actually just noticed you've got an L on the back. If you have the L the correct way round and then just flip it over like the page of a book, that is absolutely perfect. Really liking that. That's one leg. Don't forget, guys, I hope you enjoy this leg, because we've got another one to come. Right, so left thigh stage 6, which is stage 28. We have got quite a few pieces. So first of all, we have got, oops, I didn't take the top off that one. Do you know, you get some of these that are packaged really well, like this one, and yet the previous issue didn't have a lid on it. So we have got 28A. This is the left thigh front cover. We've then got 28B left thigh OCP plate. Oh, look at that. So here's the question for you. Should I put a very light wash in there, like a diluted light dirt, so that it just brings that detail out a little bit? Don't know. That's one of these things that's up for debate. So next up, 28C, we have this left thigh front rib, and it's slightly curved, so be careful. 28D is the outer hip cover, possibly something to do with that. That's going to cover that gap up, isn't it? See, trust the process. 28E is the left inner thigh screw cap. That's this. And then that leaves us with 2 packs of screws, BM screws and BP screws. So we begin with our cover. This is the left thigh front cover, and all we're going to do is we're going to place that onto the front. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 holes there. The screw holes are 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's not where that's. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to go in. I'm trying to find a really easy way to line these up. Right, okay, so we've got a peg there, and that peg is going to go in there. Line the peg up. There you go. Look, see how easy that's gone in. Okay, so that is going to be screwed in with 2 BM screws on this side, there, and 2 BP screws on this side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it slightly backwards, and I'm going to do the 2 BP screws. So this is stage 3, and that screwdriver is way too big. So So I'm doing step 3 on the left side, on the right hand side. There is a reason for it. It's not a big reason, but it is. I'm going to have to just change my screwdriver head. That is way too big. So I'm actually going to change it to a PH000. I think that will be more. Yeah, that's so much better. There we go. Okay, and then our second screw. Okay. And I've got a feeling that's all the BP screws we need in this issue. They've given us 3 and we've used 2. Now, I'm going to go get my 2 BM screws ready, and I'm going to get some oil, which I had because I was actually building something else, and now it's gone. So where has my oil? There it is. I put it in the wrong place. So because we're screwing into metal, what I want to do is just put one. You can pop a drop of oil onto your screw head. I actually like to put it into the screw hole. Then it's done. Okay, I want to use this screwdriver. It's got a little bit more strength. It is a BM screw. We're just going to screw that in, and that's good. You know what, I'm going to go back to my other screwdriver. The reason being is when I put oil onto screws, I like to work the screw in and out. It's actually cutting a thread, so I just want to go backwards and forwards a little bit until that's in. This screw is quite long and it seems to have a high thread count, so it is taking a lot of effort. It's not taking a lot of effort, it's just taking, even without going backwards on it, it's taking quite a lot of turns. So just go sort of 2 or 3 turns and then back 1 turn, and then 2 or 3 turns forward, 4 or 5 back a little bit, as much as you want, but just give it a little bit of a chance, because you're going to have a little slight bit of debris in there. Right, so that's in. That is extremely solid. I don't think that's going anywhere ever. So the next step then is we have this rib plate. Now this rib plate looks like it's going straight over the top of that, and give it a little test fit. There's 3 pegs. It's just a push fit connection. Peg there, there and there. And it looks like, yes. So you have an angled piece at the top. That does go at the top. That's actually going to go with the flow of the leg. So I'm going to place the bottom one in. I suppose you could glue this in, but have a little fit first. I don't think that needs gluing. That's in really nicely. Right, so the next step is we want to pop the OCP plate in. Now that's actually going over the top, and we have 6 pins, 2 at the bottom, 2 in the middle, 2 at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same as before. Look at that. That's just fallen off. Where's that fallen off from? Or did it fall off? Oh, it came off from there. That's that push fit connection. See, push fit connections do come off sometimes. Right, so that OCP plate is in there. That's beautiful. That really is. So have a look at that, guys. Do we really need metal parts? All of this is plastic. I mean, it's got metal inside where it needs the strength, but I think that's just testimony to we don't need metal when you can get the nice detail. Push that in now, guys. I noticed I hadn't quite pushed that in. Right, so we have got one more piece of detail. Do we have one more piece of detail? No, we have this OCP plate to pop in, and it looks to me like it's directional. No, it probably isn't, but that's gone in. Be careful, there's plastic behind it. Don't push too hard. That just needs to go in like that. And then the last thing we have, I see, right, so on the back of the knee, on the front there, so we have two more pieces to pop in. We have this pin, piece 28E, and that's going to go in there. You'll see a little notch on there like a keyhole fitting. That's got a little notch on the side, so you just want to make sure that notch goes in there and push that in. And that's nice because what that does, it continues that line down there. Right, so there's one more piece I need to get, which I would have put in the bag because it would have said save for later, but I haven't got it on me, so give me a second. Okay guys, so this is piece number 24B, and as the name suggests, it came in issue 24. And it would have told us to keep it safe, which I popped it in one of the little screw bags. We are going to need it now, and we are going to position that so that this, what looks like the smaller bit, goes to the front, and the same as we did on the other side. That's that piece there done. Now that looks a beautiful leg. I'm really happy with that. That is the end of those two issues. Now, coming up next, I haven't got the magazines to hand because I put them over. We are starting next week on the right calf. Yes, so what we're going to be needing is, and I like the way they've done this, because if you cast your mind back, we worked on a foot. And then we stopped there. I think this was about issue 2, maybe issue 3. And then we stopped. And then we started work on another leg. And I noticed that this foot, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we slightly more developed this foot. So in actual fact, this foot has never looked like this foot at the end of one particular magazine. And now I think it's a good thing, because if we had developed this foot at the same stage as this, I could accidentally be looking at having this foot on this leg, and won't that look daft? So I've not really had the opportunity to get them muddled up, but we are now starting on the calf in the next issue. So the next few weeks is going to be building this foot up, I'm guessing, all the way to this, so these two will then look the same, and then hopefully we'll join the two together, and then hopefully at some point we'll do something with this arm. I don't know how they're going to do it, because we've also got this face, this head, which is beautiful, don't get me wrong, I think it's lovely. But I'm not a big fan of having collections of pieces, so it excites me that next week we're going to start on this. We've also got 2 chest plates, but I can't see us doing, I don't know, do you want to have a little speculation, guys? Which ones will we be using first, the chest plates or the arms or the legs? But also it gives us an idea of how big it is. It's not going to be small, is it? Anyway, guys, that is it for me for this week. Please join me next week when we begin work on the calf. And I hope you have a wonderful time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.